Okay, hi everybody. Dan Sterry here, the most alarmingly chill person on YouTube or whatever. Uh, Today we're going to be doing a review of an old record, actually a couple of reviews. I'm going to post another one later. But today we're going to be doing the Bewitched by Harry Partch. I actually don't have the record because it costs like $150, but Harry Partch is one of the better classical American composers as far as the avant-garde scene in the early 20th century goes. His records are all super rare, super hard to find, and you with him you either get it or you don't. So it's I really know where to begin. I guess Harry Partch is a conductor, multi-instrumentalist, crafter, and composer from Southern California. I think he was born in Arizona and lived in Arizona for a while, but he attended USC and lived in California. Around the age of 19, he decided that, regular classical music wasn't really for him, since it was kind of a stuffy, old white people thing to do. Like, he just saw a bunch of old ladies at a concert, and then went back to the same concert like 40 years later or whatever, and it was the same looking old ladies there. So he went off in a totally different direction. He crafted his own instruments. He built all kinds of crazy, like, fixtures made of, like, bowls, stringed instruments with, like, 72 strings that nobody had ever thought of doing before. He was actually way ahead of his time, really brilliant, but also a little crazy. He spent the 30s as a hobo in just traveling the country by rail and, drinking and, being a wild man. Yeah, he is a fascinating character, and a lot of his music is lauded as, like, some of the more, popular, well, not popular, but more influential avant-garde music, I guess I should say, as far as classical music goes. But as far as the record goes, it's a little, it's thematically consistent. It's on a lot of improvised instruments. Well, not improvised, but, like, he builds them, and then he tunes them to his, microtonal scale. That's another interesting thing about Harry Partch. He took the eight tone octave scale and changed it to a 43 tone octave scale, as far as regular notes go, because he thought that the 8 tone was really constricting and didn't quite cover everybody's, their vocal patterns or their, musical patterns. So he invented these new instruments and this new scale so he could cover, more of the bases within a single octave, which is why a lot of his music sounds very, like, atonal and weird, is because, he's hitting so many different notes that you've, like, never even heard before that it's just surprising for some people. But a lot of the album consists of, like, these polyrhythmic grooves and these, like, building and, like, breaking down, like, crescendos, and it's a very interesting sort of just pattern. There's some, like, throat-sung vocals on there. There's it's just one long classical piece that has its, its builds and its breaks, and it changes in tone and theme throughout, but as a whole it's pretty, like, unified, I guess I should say. There's, like, a consistent, a balance. I actually don't know what the lyrics of this music are. It just kind of sounds like wild vocalizations by, like, 5 or 6 people at points. About 15 minutes into the song, there's this, it's like banging and building with, like, shrieking, like, string instruments, and the wind instruments are, like, going totally wild, and then it just breaks, and there's, like, 6 guys chanting, and this woman just, like, I guess singing. She's, like, vocalizing over these 6 guys chanting. It's a really interesting listen. I wouldn't say it's, like, enjoyable for everyone, but there's a lot of drama in it, and he does harness a lot of, like, really interesting, delicate melodies, and a lot of not so delicate melodies, and some of the percussive pieces are actually fairly catchy, and like if they were a little more tonal, I guess, like if they were a little more organized and a little more accessible, he might have been like a very interesting composer. But since he was never about doing that, he just said fuck it, and he went on doing what he did best, weird shit. Um, it's a really innovative record, like for its time. I think he composed and released the record in the early to mid 50s, between 52 and 55. So the record is like older than my parents, which is really funny. Um, there's not really much to say about it. It's not like a tangibly enjoyable record because musically it doesn't very much sound like music to the untrained ear. Like, I mean, as far as like that kind of aesthetic goes, anything anyone can do is music. John Cage's 433 kind of proves that. I guess it's technically a musical piece. He wrote it out on musical paper. It's just 3 blank pages of 4/4 piano music or whatever. But like, it's definitely inaccessible if you're not really into that kind of just dramatic, atonal, kind of primal, like banging orchestral music. This definitely may not be a record for you, but if you are, or you kind of want an introduction into his music, this is a good place to start because a lot of it gets weirder and weirder from here. This is kind of the gateway to Partch, and it's one of his more accessible records. I hesitate to use the word accessible because it's a very difficult listen if you don't know what you're getting into. I'm gonna give this record a strong 7, like 8 out of 10, just because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the drama. I enjoyed the instrumentation on it. I thought the use of harmony was really, really interesting, and I thought the composition was like very, very strong throughout. Like it was very thematic. It was very well tied together, and while the music, for most it isn't very palatable, I've had Harry Partch in my life for I think 5 years now, so I I'm starting to understand it more, and I kind of enjoy it a little bit. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you want me to review anything, just stick it down in the comments down there, kind of. Yeah, thanks.